how it is you looked at me and saw the person that I could be. Awakening my heart, breaking through the dark, suddenly your grace. Like sunlight burning in midnight, making the light something so beautiful, beautiful. See you reaching to save me, all that I need you was so beautiful, beautiful. Now there's a joy inside I can't contain. But even perfect days can end in rain. I know it's pouring down, I see you through the clouds, shining on my face. Like sunlight burning at midnight, making the light something so beautiful. Hello, future generation. Okay, my name is Dyana N. I am 27 years old. Some of you guys know me and some of you don't. So for those of you who don't, I used to work with the City of Refuge in 2002, starting with the VBS that we used to do back then. And I was with them for a good 7 years. And I continued. I left in about 2009. During that time, the Christies were like a family to me. And I honestly spent the best years of my life with them. Pastor Sue taught me so much in the Bible and discipled me on a regular basis for all of that time. And her many wisdom-filled lessons have helped me tremendously over the years. The life experiences that she shared with me were so fascinating and showed the true power of God. Thank you so much, Pastor Sue, for everything you've done for me. I really appreciate it. Rachel was my accountability partner, which means that I used to tell her things in my life that I needed help with, and she would give me her godly opinion of what she thought I needed to do, and that's something that I really benefited from as well. I so appreciated that, and I absolutely loved leading worship with Rachel, which was my favorite thing to do in church. Rachel, you are truly amazing. All the things you do at church, oh my gosh, leading the children's ministry, the kids, future generation, worship, family, work, you are inspiring indeed, to say the least. And so Rachel and Shiloh, they are such great leaders, as you guys know. They're an awesome power couple, yet they're very humble and caring, and I've experienced that. Sorry, it's hot here, unlike where you guys are at. You will know where I'm at in a minute. My time with the City of Refuge has laid the foundation for me with enough biblical knowledge that I've used countless times ever since. In this video, I'm going to share with you all my testimony, and I will start from the time I was 4, when I was in a car accident. As you probably can see, that I have sort of a disability. So in this car accident, it was in the Middle East where I lived, where I'm from, and this accident is really, I believe, is no accident, and that God has used it for His glory in a big way. I definitely believe that. So, if you guys are interested, I'll share with you what happened. In the accident, we actually, I'm just going to check something. Still going, good. We were in a car, and my brother and I were in the back seat. And my brother got out. Nothing happened to him, but we lost control of the car. I mean, it was flipping, and I fell out of the windshield, and then it landed on top of me. And then my parents were still inside, upside down. They got out, they were looking for me, and they were like, "Where's Diana?" You know, so then they finally figured I was underneath, and then they went and picked up the car, got some help, and they picked up the side that I was underneath, whereas if they had chosen the other side of the car, I would have been crushed more. So obviously, God protected me. That was a miracle in itself that I survived that. So, fast forward, while in high school, I always knew that I wanted to be a doctor. My dad is a doctor. He's a GP here in Sydney, that's where I'm at. And he also works in another state here in Australia. That's where he started out at. I enjoy listening to people's stories and helping in whatever way I could growing up. So I knew this is something I've always wanted, and I love it with a passion. And so anyways, after I finished my degree at Open University in 2007, I went to visit family in Egypt, and my dad decided that I should stay there and finish medical school there, but God had other plans. See, God knew that it was going to be a dangerous place for me to live, so he didn't let me get accepted there. And this reminded me of Psalm 91 that says, "He who dwells in the shelter of the Most High, or lives in the shelter of the Lord, will be shielded." This is the message. His huge outstretched arms protect you. Under them you are perfectly safe. So no matter where life takes you, really, when you think like things are not going your way, God is always there. He protects his children. He loves us. He knows he has a plan for us. So I am forever grateful that God has been with me so many times, and I just cannot thank him enough. And I just bless his name and will never forget his goodness. He has been faithful to me even when I wasn't, but God still honors our acts of obedience because he is like a heavenly Father that loves us and wants us to just be happy and do things that please him, and he in return gives us a lot of good things, and he loves us unconditionally, though he's just that good of a father. I came to Australia in 2010, so after I was in Egypt I came here, and by God's grace I got into medical school. It was really an interesting thing because I didn't know if I was going to make it. It took me years, but I still persisted because I knew that this is what I wanted, and I just kept at it. I applied to so many schools in the States, got accepted to the Caribbean, but I knew that God didn't want me there, and so I just kept at it, and I finally got in here in a nice school up in Townsville, Queensland. God provided for my every need. That was the first time I moved out on my own, and God was with me every step of the way, and I didn't need a thing. I didn't know how I was going to do things on my own. I've always relied on my parents to help me with everything, but I was there on my own, and everything worked out. The place I live at was there for me, even though I got accepted 2 days before classes started. There was a place right near the university, and there was a church right down the road, and I had a landlord, that I just right next to where I'm living, and it was just perfect. It was God's, he had already put everything together for me. And he gave me success, so I've made it up to third year now. I'm starting fourth year in a couple weeks, and I'm really excited. I'm going to be working with patients now, and I'm really looking forward to that. But my first year was tough. I was in a lot of pain. I remember my first couple of weeks because it was my first time walking more than I was used to. I was studying for so long, but I hadn't actually exerted a lot of effort into, I'm going to turn the fan on, working, going to places and doing things, walking around campus and that. So anyways, but that first year, I remember that when I was in a lot of pain, that we just got done painting, so I'm trying to get this thing off. Jesus was telling me that he had gone through the same pain that I did, and he knows exactly what I was going through, and I was comforted in that. It was around Easter time, and I couldn't get out of my place. I just couldn't. I was in so much pain that I had to have someone come and bring me pain medications. That's how bad it was. But it was Passion Week, which is the week right before Easter, and God was so real to me. I just felt his presence so strong. that time. So, well, he obviously endured pain through the cross and being crucified and beaten before that. So I knew the pain I was going through, even though it was so intense to me, like God knew what I was going through, like I said. And my reoccurring theme that I want to highlight is I have become to know that my weakness, my physical weakness, is, the Bible talks about it from Paul's point of view, who's the apostle in the New Testament, is that through his weakness, he's made strong. Like, God's power is made perfect in weakness. It says that in 2 Corinthians 12:9. And also in the Bible, God uses insignificant people, what the world thinks of as insignificant, like he did with Moses and Noah, and, like people who, Moses used to stutter and didn't think he can speak to Pharaoh to bring the people out of Egypt and, do something great. But God used him, even though he had what appeared to be a problem, and he needed to be able to speak eloquently, not a good demonstration, eloquently to the Pharaoh, to be able to bring these people out. But God still used him, because he knew that his strength, his power, his ability came from God, not from him. And David, who's greatest king of all time, he also was, he was a shepherd boy. He was the youngest of his brothers, and nobody thought anything of him. And that he wrote most of the Psalms in the Bible, and he was a really good king after God's own heart. He was one of the best kings. So, God uses the weak things of the world to shame the strong. He loves the humble. That's one of the really important qualities God admires in people. So, just to see how I'm doing with time. Just got a few minutes. So I used to worry, but I don't now. But I know that I should not lean on my own understanding, but acknowledge him. He will direct my path. In Jeremiah 29:11, it says, "I know the plans I have for you, plans to take care of you, not abandon you, to give you a hope and a future." In November of 2012, I sprained my ankle at the gym, but nothing relieved my pain except prayer. I'm not kidding. Like, I used to take pain medications, exercise, whatever. Whenever I prayed, God took the pain away. And so through his obedience, I've seen wonders. God took away my chronic back pain in August of this last year. I was at a church service. I came home. I did things I did not think I could do without pain, and I did. And for 2 months, I was able to carry around my laptop, my books, and everything without pain. It was amazing. In December, this past December, last month, I was doing my placement at the hospital, and I met this girl who also had a condition, and I knew that God had me there to minister to her, to talk to her, to share with her, and be able to relate. So that was really amazing, and I was in pain then too from something else, and it was just like, wow. So I want to tell you guys that you have choices, but when we give our lives to God, he does some very amazing things that we cannot do on our own. And over the past 2 years, God has used me to minister, to speak God's word to many of my classmates and friends, and to share the hope that I have in Jesus and how wonderful he's been to me. And during this time also, God has made it clear to me that he wants me to help people with mental illness. Through several interactions and working with people working in this field and friends that I have who needed help in this area, God gave me a burden to work as a GP, perhaps as my father, and with an area of interest in this, or perhaps a psychiatrist. I don't know. God will show me in due time. I want to travel to Africa, perhaps Kenya, and go to Haiti. I sponsored a child there, and I want to learn French and be able to speak with that child, so I'm looking forward to that. So my advice is to listen to the right voices for whatever decision you want to make in your life. And God gave you a dream. Do not give up on your dream, and he will help you see it through. Love you guys. Miss you. Bye.